Welcome back, everybody. So, today I want to talk to you a little bit about how to take care of books. I hope you love books as much as I do, and we love them so much we want to take care of them. Now, there's a couple things that we need to learn about how to take care of books, yours or library books. Now, our book of the month, Wild About Books, one of my favorite books, we're going to talk a little bit about the parts of the book. First of all, this has a hard cover. So it protects the paper inside, the paper meaning the pages. This is the front cover. This is the back cover. This, boys and girls, is what's called the spine of the book. We have a spine too in our back, and that helps us to bend and stand up straight. The spine of the book does a couple things. It tells the name of the book, the title, and the author of the book, usually the author's last name. It also holds all the pages in the book together. They're glued into the spine or sometimes sewn into the spine. So when we look at a book, we want to make sure that we hold it flat or we hold it in our lap like this. I'm going to show you this at home, but I don't want you to do this. Don't ever bend it back, because what happens is it will eventually break the spine of the book. And when you break the spine of the book, this is what that looks like. All the pages come out of the book, they come unglued, and the book is now broken. And you can't read it anymore because eventually the pages just fall out and you don't know which page goes where. So we always want to make sure that when we read our book, that we hold it open in our lap like this or flat on a table. Don't ever bend the spine back because we don't want to break the glue or the binding that holds the book together. Okay, another way we take care of books is when we hold them or when we're going from one place to another with them. I always tell my kids, hug it like you love it. Keep it close to you, or you can keep it under your arm. We don't ever want to balance them on our head. We don't ever want to hold them open just by one side. We don't want to put them behind our back. And as much as I love reading, don't walk and read at the same time. You might run into something. So when you're holding a book and walking with it, maybe you're going, if you're at home, you're going from one room to another. I always tell my boys and girls, hug it like you love it. Give it a nice big hug. It's close to you, and none of the pages will fall out. It won't fall on the ground, because if it falls on the ground, it might hit one of the corners and eventually will break the book. So hug it like you love it. Another thing is, inside the book, the pages, we want to make sure that we take very good care of the pages. Now, this is just paper. So when we turn the pages of the book, we want to turn them very carefully, slowly, so we don't rip the pages, because if we rip the pages, then you won't be able to see what's on the page. Also, if we maybe are called somewhere else and we want to mark the place where we stopped, we don't ever want to fold the pages down, because that will ruin the paper. So you can use just a piece of paper if you want to, like this, to hold your spot, or our fancy corner bookmarks that we made last week. But one thing you don't want to do is hold your place with a pencil. See what that does? Again, it will stretch that spine, and eventually the spine will break and all the pages will fall out. So if we want to hold our place, let's use a bookmark, like our fancy corner bookmark we made the other day. Also, I love to read outside, but we always want to bring our books back inside. Now, last year I had a boy who left his book on the playground. It's the same book. So it rained that night, and the book got all wet. You see that the stain right here? This is water got all in the book, and it ruined the book. When you get pages of a book wet, they wrinkle and they mildew and they never dry correctly again, and it will break the whole book. So we want to make sure that we read in a dry place. If we are outside with our books, that we bring them back in. We don't leave them out in the rain, and we certainly don't ever, ever, ever want to read when we're taking a bath. That's a no-no. No books in the bathtub, unless it's like a book made for the bathtub, then that's okay. Another thing is we always want to have clean hands. Now, if you go outside on a very, very hot day and you get a popsicle and you're eating your popsicle, no matter how fast you eat your popsicle, what does your popsicle do? It melts. And where does it melt? All down your hands. So how do your hands feel? Sticky. So we always want to make sure that we wash our hands and have clean hands before we touch our book, because I don't want to touch a sticky book or a dirty book. So wash your hands and make sure you have clean hands before you touch it so your book's not dirty and sticky. You also want to make sure that you are not eating or drinking when you are reading your book, because if you're anything like me, sometimes I accidentally spill my drink, and we don't want our food and our drinks getting on our books because they will stain our books. If it's a drink, the paper will get wet and it will ruin our books. So we don't want to eat or drink when we are reading our books. Another thing is, how many of you have pets at home? I do. I have a puppy. Well, she's not a puppy anymore. I have a dog named Scout. And if your pet is anything like my pet, she loves to chew anything that's on the floor. She thinks everything on the floor belongs to her and is a toy. So anything that's on the floor, she automatically picks it up and starts to chew it. So we want to make sure that we put our books high up on a shelf, or if you have a backpack, keep it in your backpack so your pets don't get a hold of it and think it's a chew toy. Like this book. A little puppy dog got a hold of this book and chewed the side all up, and they don't know any better. This one also had a puppy dog get a hold of this one and chewed the corner off. So we want to make sure that we keep our books safe from our pets, because they really don't know any better. So we need to keep them up high on a shelf. If you have a bookshelf at home, that would be great, or in your backpack. Also, baby brothers and sisters. If you have any baby brothers and sisters, sometimes they like to get into things and play with them, and they don't know any better. They like to put things in their mouth. They might get a hold of your crayons and draw all over it. They might spill their juice on it, or they might rip the pages. And that's one thing we don't want to do, is we never ever rip the pages in the book, and we also don't draw on them. Now, you might come across a book like this one day that has pictures in it that are black and white. Does that mean that they're asking you to color these pictures? What do you think? Well, no, they are not. It's not a coloring book. So you don't ever, ever, ever want to color the pictures in a book, because the next person, especially if it's a library book, it will be all messy and nobody wants to read it if it's all messy. And this book in particular, here's another book of an example of a spine that broke. Can't read that anymore. The next thing is that, I think that's about it. I have a couple of fun things that I want you to do to learn more about how to take care of your books, because if you take care of your books, the longer that you can have them and the longer that they will last, because really, boys and girls, it's just paper, and paper rips very easily, and the books can break pretty easily if we don't take care of them. So I have a great book I want to share with you today called Mr. Wiggles. So click on the link to Mr. Wiggles, and he is also going to share with you a little bit about how to take care of books. And I also have made a fun interactive game, and I will post it on your teams. It's a Kahoot game, and it's all about taking care of books. So I hope you enjoy this story called Mr. Wiggles, And I hope you have fun learning about how to take care of books and your Kahoot game. Let me know what your favorite book is, or send me a picture of you reading. I love to see your pictures, and I hope to see you guys really soon. Take care. Bye.